Peace, love, blessings, and abundance out there to everyone. So, one of the hardest things in my personal experience of my journey that I've had to really overcome as being an energetic empath is understanding that I need to constantly be in a state of awareness so that I can be the observer of my emotions and whatever happens to me in any given day or how the day flows or my interactions with other individuals and all of that. So in this past month, we know the month of April, from an energetic standpoint, there has been a swath of electromagnetic energy that's coming into the atmosphere, and it's set to continue to happen. And as May comes on board in the first couple of weeks of May, and so this energetic electromagnetic energy swing that we're experiencing is by design. It's in congruency with our shift in the age of Aquarius, which is in a state that we are designed to constantly elevate ourselves and become more conscious about everything. And that's why you see there's a whole lot of things going on in the world as far as mishaps and everything else that's going on. That's by design, because all that energy needs to really come up and be revealed, and so that we can put ourselves in a state of being conscious and learning from everything that's happened that we're experiencing, all of that. And so, as individuals, this electromagnetic energy is flowing through us every day. And depending on the baseline or the levels of the Schumann resonance, which measures the electromagnetic energy around the Earth's atmosphere, and it may spike in a given day to the point where it sort of affects us from an emotional standpoint, physical standpoint. We may have aches and pains and everything else. But what also it's doing, it's really getting down deep and bringing out all those emotions that we've been hiding and we've been sort of buried in beneath us and down deep inside us. They're bringing it out because from a consciousness standpoint, we have to become aware of those, and we have to become aware of those so that we can understand what we need to do to release them or to move forward. And so, as empaths, one of the things that are really difficult for us to understand is to be in a constant state of awareness to where we are constantly, being the observer of how we respond. And so, if we're getting triggered by someone or something that happens to us, one of the things that we have to understand is whenever that emotional trigger is rising up sort of inside of us to the point where it's revealed that we're getting agitated and all of that, we have to understand that we have to look inside of us internally to figure out what we need to do to understand the emotional energy that is really inside of us that we need to understand and release and move forward. And so, as this electromagnetic energy, this energy that's coming through in the month of April and set to do it in May, it is sort of bringing all of these stresses and emotions, and they're actually stacked upon each other, one after the other. So, we're having to deal with a really groundswell of emotional stresses that are designed for us to understand what we need to do to elevate ourselves from a vibrational standpoint. And so, we are sort of been on the journey for various years. I've been on this journey for a little over 20 years, and I've developed some sort of meditative practices that allowed me to continually shift myself. But as this shift is occurring to us, many of you will find out that what has worked for you for the past 10 years or 5 years, or where even has worked for you a year ago, may not work for you today. Because as we know, there's this quantum field the state of consciousness that we're tapped into. And we know that that conscious field is 99.999% free space. And that free space is filled with energy. And what's in that energy? Information. So as we continue to tap in, we're continually and constantly evolving ourselves in the state of awareness so that we constantly elevate ourselves from a vibrational standpoint. And as this energy swell is coming to the atmosphere, The earth is shifting in its own conscious state. The earth is shifting in a vibrational state. And we, as vibrational human individuals, as spirits, have to be able to shift along with it. And so, what that's telling us is what may have worked for us in terms of our practices and everything that's worked for us maybe a year ago or 5 years ago, it no longer works for us. And so, we have to be able to elevate ourselves, understand, and go sort of internally so that we understand the practice of what we need to do to really move that energy. And this has really happened to me in the past 2 months. And I've been engaged in a practice that has allowed me to really elevate myself and understand that I need to be in a constant state of awareness and learning on an individual basis so that I can understand what my abilities are and my shifts are, so that I can understand this energy that's constantly flowing through me, that I can utilize it in the most sort of beneficial way to elevate my state of consciousness. Because energy is energy, whether it's negative or whether it's positive, or wherever you may categorize it, it is energy. And you can use whatever energy that you absorb and you can transmute it so that it benefits you. So one of the things I've been able to do in the past 2 months is really reconfigure my breath exercises so that I can really understand the energy that I have that's coming into me all day, and I can transmute that energy, and I can raise that energy to a level to where it really resonates in my brain, and it really changes the neuropathic connections that are in my brain so that my brain can understand the conscious state that it needs to be in order to move and raise my vibration and manifest everything that I need to manifest in my own existence. Because it's never about anybody else. It's always about you individually and how you need to understand what you need to do to raise your conscious state. So I've been able to do that. And one of the things that I've learned that the brain sort of has memories and really stores about 5% of our memories that happens to us in our lifetime. That's where the other 95% of the memories get stored in the body. And so what that tells me is that your brain is reacting to whatever emotional hybridization of energies that get stored in your body based off of memories in your lifetime. Your brain is activating and reacting off of that. And so what I've learned that I can use that energy that's stored in me, and I can move it, and I can move it up into my brain to allow that energy to realize the visualization of what those energetic traumas and memories are, and be able to consciously elevate and change the neuropathic connections so that I can understand what I need to do to elevate on a consistent basis. And it's all about breath. And there are myriad of different breath exercises that you can do, that you can entertain. I know Dr. Joe Dispenza has a really articulate way of explaining how to change the neuropathic connections in your brain by conscious breath and meditation. It works. It's phenomenal. And so what I've been able to do is to understand that I need to really sort of really develop that breath in my belly first. I need to feel that breath as voluminous as I can in the belly. And that intake, that first intake that I need to experience, it doesn't stop there. It continues as I fill up my belly. Next is my lungs. I fill up my lungs. And so what then I want to do, it doesn't stop there. So what I do then is I picture that I relax my shoulder blades, my collarbone, and I relax my shoulders, and I visualize me taking short breaths to my collarbone. So I'm taking short breaths like that. And I hold my breath for as long as I possibly can with my belly filled up with air, lungs filled up with air, and I keep those short breaths. So what that's doing, and then as I hold that breath, I contract my stomach muscles so that, and I keep my spine straight so that spinal fluid can start from the bottom of my spine all the way up, and that energy can start moving to my brain. And once that happens, the pineal gland, that pineal gland, the size of a grain of rice that's in the middle of your brain, starts to activate, starts to spark. And all of those millions of magnetite crystals that are in your pineal gland, and the thalamic gland at the bottom of your brain here, that's the gateway to all of the connections and your neuropathic connections. So when you feel this sort of vibrating and all of that, that starts to adjust, and all that energy that you've been storing in you can be utilized and transmuted and utilized for you to activate your consciousness and your neuropathic connections. And so I've been doing this for about 60 days, and it's done a myriad of different things for me, and it really sort of opened up my conscious state of awareness, and I tapped in to etheric planes that before I couldn't do. Now I can do that now. Also, I'm more aware of things that happen to me, and I'm more intuitive about things that may happen, or I can tap in at a greater level. And that's allowed me to understand. And so that when I get to the point where I'm emotionally agitated by something, what I immediately do, I take a breath and I use that breath exercise, and I move that energy, that emotional energy that's stored in me, and I move it to my brain. And so that activates that. And so I expand my aware of consciousness throughout the day. And every morning I do this exercise. And so for the better part of 5 years, I wake up about, you know, anywhere from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. every night. And I'm used to it, right? So what happened is, um, I wake up with a huge amount of pain. It's in my lower back, my hips, mostly my lower back, and all of that. And so I have to get up. And so for the past 3 or 4 years, I've been my meditations. I've been moving that energy and all of that. And so I'm thinking, okay, this works. And then the past two months, with this renewed, information of breathing exercise. So I've been sort of channeling that energy different. So one of the things that I started to ask myself, I've been doing a lot of shadow work. I've been doing a lot of this. Why is I'm waking up to pain every night? I couldn't understand that. And then I saw something on a feed. And as you become more aware, information that comes to you, whether it's social feeds or anything else, and there's something that resonates with you. So I saw something that says every night that you're getting inundated with a groundswell of light waves. So this light energy is coming all inside and in my body every night. And so I'm asking myself, well, why is it continually doing that? And so once I asked myself the right question, I got the answer. So the answer was, I needed to learn how to move that energy that's inside of me, that every night that gets put inside of me, every night, that's energy, that light energy that gets inundated, and the pain is so excruciating. I get up and sort of I walk downstairs in this office, and I sit in my chair, and I start to breathe, and I move that energy, and it's immediate. The pain is gone, and I can feel the tremors in my brain, so that I can feel that activation and that consciousness raising. And so my gifts, one of my gifts is I have clear audio. So my ears ring constantly based off the energy that I'm with. So as I've been able to tap into other higher levels of consciousness and higher level planes of existence, my ears ring a little higher, the higher pitch. I can absolutely tell when I'm at a different level of tapped into a different level of consciousness. And then what it's done is allow me to, for my intuition and everything else has been really advanced and acute, and I've been able to do that. And so I wanted to get to so what has worked for me for the past 4 or 5 years, it no longer worked. So I need to understand that I needed to shift. I need to shift myself, become more aware of the energy that's getting integrated in me every single night. And it doesn't stop. From anywhere from 3 to 5 a.m. I wake up every night. It doesn't matter what time I go to bed. I wake up same time every night. And so that understands that energy gets placed in me. And so when I wake up, I come downstairs, and then I meditate, I breathe, and I move that energy out, and it eliminates it within seconds. And so those are the things that I have learned. And it's about being still. It's about asking yourself the right questions. It's about being so much aware of what's going on inside of you and what's going on in your day, that it's absolutely never about anyone else. And so some of the things that we get sort of held on to, and we go down to this rat hole of believing that somebody else, or and we're triggered by somebody else and it's their fault and all of that. It is absolutely never about that. It's always about you and how you need to understand and evolve and grow from whatever energy that is being thrown at you. It's never about anyone else. And so once you do that, you'll be able to understand and accept and unconsciously understand and embrace whoever, whatever state somebody else is in, or whatever consciousness, or if it's not aligned with you, that'll be okay with you. And it doesn't affect you, because if you constantly be in a state of being aware and know that whatever worked for you 5 years ago, it may not work now, because this energetic shift that is happening, and is going to continue to happen in the month of May. So as April winds down and May comes on board, these energetic spikes are going to continue to happen. And when that happens, you're going to feel this emotional sort of stacking of stress and energies that are going to be coming to your life in a day. And you're thinking, why is all this happening to me? It is absolutely supposed to be happening to you. And so the thing that you have to understand is to learn to be the observer of everything that's happened to you, so you can understand what you need to do to grow and shift and elevate yourself. So I just shared with you some of the my experience of how I had to really shift my daily practice. And my daily practice is absolutely, different than it was a year ago. But what it's done is it allowed me to understand that I have grown consciously. I have grown with my intuition and my gifts, and I continue to do that as long as I understand that there are messages that your guides and your angels are sending to you all day long. And if you get inundated with all the energetic emotions and activities that are hitting to you all day and every day, you'll miss them. So what you need to do is understand that I need to constantly be in a state of really being the observer of who I am, so that you can learn to be the master of who you are. And the only way that you're going to do that is to understand that if you're triggered and emotionally triggered by someone else, that is not them. It is about you. It is about what you need to learn and what you need to adjust inside of you. And sometimes as empaths, we get to the point where we believe that we've gotten to a state, and we're on autopilot. But as this shift is coming in April and May, it is letting a lot of us know that we can't be on autopilot, because as I indicated, 99.999% of that free space, folks, is energy. So we don't really have enough space in us to house all of that energy that's going to hit us all day, every day. And energy is filled with information. So what does that tell us? That we have to be in a constant state of understanding of what energies that may have been useful and helpful for us a year ago and are no longer helpful now, and to release them and really free up space so that we can have more information and energy coming to us that align to elevate us. And so I want to come on today to share that with you. It's not easy, but if you keep yourself in a constant state of awareness and understand that everything that you're triggered and emotionally sort of off kilter about in this month and next month, it is absolutely 100% about you, and it is 100% about no one else. And so I want you guys to understand that. And so blessings, peace, I love you, abundance, and we'll talk to you down the road.